So here we go. Right. So welcome back to our last part. Now the really last part of module of our module 5, the last module. The last time that we are sitting here together and going through the teaching contents, of course, as you know, that will be available for you for another year to rewatch anyhow. And I will see you, of course, on our live events. That's no question about that. So what are we looking at today? We are looking at internal constellations, and we will make a training session with it. We are looking at what is called floor anchors. There are different words for it. I use the word floor anchor. We will go through more details in systemic coaching. We will look into breathing exercises if we have time. We'll see how that goes, and guided meditations as part of an individual session when you work with clients individually. We will have some words about troubleshooting, what we need to know about troubleshooting. And last but not least, we will finish off with an exercise where we look at whatever you want to look at, really, what I can show you with the figurine board. So, internal constellation. You can use really everything that you learned in all the modules, including module 4. So all the orders of love, the gestures and the words and the dynamics and the entanglements and the guilt and the emotional chart and the spiritual color. Everything you have learned, you can use and visualize it. Yeah. Not you visualize, but your client visualize. So you guide them to visualize it. So in fact, you can use the healing modalities that you have learned here without any tools, without anything. It's just you and your client closes the eyes and you guide them through. Yeah. And that's called an internal constellation, or as Bert Helling has also called it, a spiritual constellation. So if you find yourself in the situation that you have no tools available for representation, or you find yourself in the situation that the client is just, I don't know, has a phobia against the wooden figurines or something like that, yeah, you can still work with them by make them closing eyes and relaxing, almost like in a regression, and then let them visualize the family constellation. The only difference is they need to tell you what they see because you don't see it. And that's basically what is an internal constellation. The client is internalizing the whole process, but talking about it, letting you partake in it, of course. So he's not just doing it like in themselves. You are still guiding, you are still facilitating. So in this internal constellation, who's facilitating, constellating, and representing the air? It's all, so facilitating is you, of course, this stays the same, and the rest is doing the client. They are doing it. You are not doing. So it's not a guided meditation. That's different. Like let's say when I was guiding you in the Shavasana exercise to corpse pose to experience a physical death, that is a complete guided meditation where I want you to steer in a certain direction. Yeah, I keep the control over your visualization process at all times. That's a guided meditation. That's not an internal constellation. An internal constellation is that you tell your client to close their eyes, relax, yeah, and then see which family members come up. And they have to tell you who's coming up. Or if you already talked about the issue and you know you want to constellate father, mother, and child, you would ask them to see father, mother, and child. And that's it. More guidance you don't do. And then you ask them who's looking at whom, right? Who's acting like what? Is anybody saying something? It's, you know, you are visualizing the constellation. And then when your client is reporting back to you what's happening in front of his inner eyes, in front of his closed eyes, then you can draw a conclusion. You need the 3D vision to see what they see. And then you can draw the conclusion, what is the word? Who needs to say what to whom? Where's the dynamic? Yeah. Where's the imbalance? Where's the disorder? Where's the order of love not obeyed? Which order is not obeyed? Who's missing? Where's the missing person? Who is the missing person? And add that. Then, so you do exactly what you do, either in a workshop setting or with a figurine board. Now you don't have neither persons nor figurines. You only have the visualization of your client. And that works as well. And some are really good at it. Some clients, for them, is this the preferred method if they are really good at visualization and then they have a clear picture. And for some clients, that doesn't work at all. Then you need the figurine. So it's good to have both toolkits in your plumber's box, yeah, in your facilitator box. So the session is exactly like always. You have an intro or setup. A new client will be introduced in the family constellation and your expertise and what to expect, what not to expect, for example. Yeah, and then you have the main session where you literally just need the client sitting on a chair. That's it. You need no other props. And then, of course, you have the closing where you, in this case, get your client back into the room they are sitting. So that is not too abrupt because they have their eyes closed for so long and internalized the constellation. You need a little bit more time to get him back into the room, but that's all. And then they open their eyes, and then you can just continue with a normal closing that you would do when you would use his figurines, for example. So that is an internal constellation, and I think it's probably something that we will do when we have time before the break. And now I'll talk about floor anchors. That is a lovely, lovely tool that you can also put in your facilitator box to have handy when somebody wants to wants help from you to make a decision. Floor anchors are excellent help for decision making. So instead of, you can constellate a decision by putting figurines for each choice, yeah, and see, who's looking at whom and so on. Or you can just draw on plain a piece of papers the decisions that are like, let's say somebody wants to change the job. And there are 3 options. They can be self-employed, they can live from benefit, or they can go and look for a new job. Yeah? So let's make it very simple. These 3 decisions. Then you would grab 4 sheets of paper. You would write on each paper one word, like self-employed. The next word would be unemployed, and the third one would be looking for employment or employment, and a blank sheet of paper. And then you would just mix it up so nobody knows which is one. You would put it out, turn it upside down so you don't see what's written on it. And you would lay out the papers on the floor. And then you would ask the client to step on one after the other. So step on one of the papers. And you would observe the client, how they feel about it on the paper, how the body swings backwards or forwards, facial expressions, emotions, a sigh of relief or tension or even aggression, all these little hints that you get from the gestures. And then you draw your conclusion. You don't know what is written on the sheet, but you just make a mental note on this sheet, this is this reaction, right? And then you go to the let him step on the next one, and then you take note of this reaction to that one, and so on. And when they come off of this experience with the sheets, then you would have either written it down or you have memorized which sheet has what reaction, and then you just extract the ones with a negative reaction and just turn around the one with the most positive reaction. Yeah. And that's then maybe the right decision to do, right? So that is really fun. It doesn't take long, 10, max 15 minutes. something different to working with the figurines or working with internalizing this, and it's quite effective because the mind is kind of bypassed in this process. Yeah, and that's always good for the client to know that you can actually find decisions by bypassing the mind. Eva, what do you say?
I just wanted to add that in physiotherapy, I have one also method. It's not like some kind of certificated method, but just how you can check also, does the person needs these techniques or not? For example, I ask him or her to think about, I don't know, physical therapy, and I just check how strong he or she can stand on his or her place, and it also always has a reaction, and it's something similar than this, but it always works. That's the way how you can work, which method works better for this person. It's the same
Fantastic.
like floor anchors. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really unbelievable, but it definitely works, and the person can't change it. It just the muscles show the reaction.
it's also
Yeah.
called a muscle testing, right?
It's a little bit different. It's a chain testing that I check chains, how good they work, like how they connect each with other, but the idea is pretty much the same,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, fantastic.
So
There's
great.
also a very easy way to test out, if you haven't noticed, if food is good for you. So you can go in the supermarket and just, if you like, let's say there's a yogurt in the shelf and you're not sure if you need a dairy yogurt or a dairy-free yogurt, what is better for you? You can take the yogurt out, put it here in front of your center, yeah, where the heart center is, and then just stand still and see if you sway forward or backwards. And if you sway forward, it's good for you, and if you sway backward, you should put it back because it's not good for you. Right? These are the bodies telling you exactly what you need. You just have to ask. Yeah, it's very, very good. So that's the kind of the same reactions. Also, that the body, the muscles actually reacting to that. So decision making, beautiful. It's nice to work with. It's normally quick. It's fun and very enlightening for the client normally. So tips and tricks with and finding the issue to work with. So you want the client to be kind of connected with the decision they want to make while they step on the floor anchors. You know, of course, they shouldn't be in la la land and think of something else. They should think about their decision that they want to make. So tips and tricks are here. On when you draw floor anchors, use short words, really short. One word is normally enough. Some decisions are yes or no, right? So that's even better. You only have yes or no there. Add an empty sheet. I think that's brilliant because the added sheet makes it open the whole field up to a completely different option, an option that your client hasn't thought about yet. And that's very often the best option, right? So, or an empty sheet tells you it's not the time to make a decision yet. So if you don't have an empty sheet, you would only go with the worst or the best from what it's on offer, right? So you have to kind of grab one of the choices, yeah, and say, okay, that's the one because it looks like that was the best reaction, but it was probably not a really good reaction, right? So if you have an empty sheet, you can take this dilemma away. You don't need to decide. If it's not the right time to decide, they will feel most comfortable on the empty sheet. That would be the best sheet that they step on, that they connect with. Do not make more than 3 or 4 anchors at a time. That is kind of becoming mixed messages. I have observed that with clients. If they come, some of my clients, they come to me to help them with the decision. And I just remember a client who wanted to buy a new car, and so they already draw all the decisions on the sheets, and he was like a bundle of 8 or 9 sheets with 8 or 9 cars that he was finding on what on the web on the internet or whatnot, and then and then he spread it out all the papers on the floor, and it was very confusing. And we had like we had a hard time. So I think, no, we don't do that anymore. Before you come with 9 cars, you have to decide which are the 4 best ones. You know, you have to make a process of elimination before that. Yeah. It is very important to be on spot and observe the first reaction. When the client steps on the floor anchor, normally the very first reaction is giving away if it's positive or negative reaction. So one I have already said, the body swinging. The body swings forward is a positive reaction. The body swings backward is a negative reaction, right? And that's exactly how you, so when you're not, when kind of your client is jumping on the floor anchor and you're still making notes, you miss this moment. Yeah. So make sure you are ready. You are standing length side of your client, not in front, not at the back. So you see the body movement. So you're watching him from the side, from the profile. And then you say to him, now step on it. And then you see from the very first to the last moment what the reaction is. And you see very, there can be subtle, the swinging movements that don't need to be big. They can be very subtle, but you see them. Yeah, and that's exactly what they tell you, if it's a positive or a negative reaction. Of course, you see that in facial expression as well. You see tension, you see a relaxation, you see a smile or a frown or something in the face. So this is all counting. Yeah. Exercise. Yeah, now that's a fun exercise. Now I would like you to go in groups and you decide if you want to do with your partner a floor anchor exercise or a little mini internal constellation. So first I demonstrate an internal constellation. I don't think I need to, floor anchors are very simple. You understand how that works. So we don't need the demonstration with that. Is that okay? But I definitely want to demonstrate the internal constellation with you. So you know exactly how that looks like before we go in our exercise. And then you go in the breakout room with your partner, and then you have a client facilitator situation there. And then you would, your client would talk briefly about an issue. And you would decide if you want, for this issue, try to do floor anchors or an internal constellation. Yeah? And then you can start doing this actually. We have enough time. You don't need to go all the way to the end, just to, get you started to practice that. So what I would like to do now is stop sharing and do an internal constellation with one of you. Who wants to volunteer? Nachtjyoti. Good. Very good. Okay. So you have to tell us a little bit about your issue, and we see how far we go. We might not go all the way, a matter of time, but we see how far we go.
I'll just tell my husband to look at the kids. I'm doing a session for 5 minutes. You look at the kids. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, anything, Maya, or any specific area?
Anything? Yeah, what comes to mind?
Well, should I continue in the current workplace, or should I continue with my husband? Anyone will do.
Up to you. We should do a floor anchor to decide that.
Okay. Okay. So for internal, then.
How about your work situation?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So tell us briefly about your work situation, then we go into the constellation.
Well, the main thing is it's run by my husband. He's the trustee, and I'm well qualified for the position. And I've been a teacher for like 18 years now. I've always done well wherever I went. But as soon as I joined him in his workplace, it was also after I got married to him. But then his ex-wife is in that environment, and in India that has created disturbance. So I have always felt that I don't get credibility, I don't get my due because I come there as the boss's wife now. So now I am a trustee too. I am also holding a position in the management, and that has happened by consent of the other trustees, of others in the management. They do appreciate my skills, but on a day-to-day basis, something's not clicking between me and my colleagues, the people in my department who work under me. So I've been struggling since a few years now. There was a time when many of them were complaining. The complaints have reduced, but there's a disconnect that, yes, and on one hand, things are not very great with my husband and me anyway, and then at school also, there's no respite, there's no feeling of connection. So that's where I am. I have no idea what to do.
Do you want to keep this job, or are you rather looking for another job and want to finish that in the job in good terms? What is your goal?
There are some pressures on us. Like now, my son will be joining the same school, and we get a discount because both of us also work there, and my husband is dependent on me in some ways, not for money, but for just my position at the school. So it's hard. It's practically speaking, it's not prudent to leave that place. But I wish to gain some clarity. I don't even have clarity. I don't know where I stand, and I don't know what's going wrong between me and my colleagues.
Okay. How many colleagues are we talking?
Well, there are around 20, between 25 to 28 people in my department who work under me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we will work with you, of course. We will work with your colleagues as one representative, like you will kind of visualize that as one, with the board of trustees. How many trustees are there? Your husband, you?
And two other women.
And two other women. So we have these 4 people. Then we have one for your colleagues. Yeah. And then we have also one in your department that you want clarity about. And then we have one that you look at for the children you're working for, right? Okay. So close your eyes, sit relaxed, take a few breaths in and out, just to relax. We are not going in this work, we are not going in alpha state, so we don't need to guide the client to slow down the heart rate and all of this. It's just that they feel relaxed and safe when they have their eyes closed. That's really all. Right. Okay. So, very good. Now you're visualizing in front of your inner eyes yourself, your husband, the 2 other trustees, and then your children. They can be represented by one, or the school children as a group, however that, however you see it. And then another one for the people, for the other teachers that you're responsible for, the colleagues that you want clarity with. It's either also a group or it's one person, whatever is easier for you to visualize. Yeah? Okay, very good. So now I would like you to explain to me how they are related in a room. Start with yourself and the board of trustees. Where are you? Where's the husband and where are the 2 others?
Can you hear me? Is it clear?
Yes. Yes.
So it's me, and then to my right is my husband, and to his right are the 2 other trustees.
Very good. And where are you looking at?
We're all looking forward.
In one direction.
Yes, we're all looking in one direction. Yes.
Okay, very good. How do you feel there?
Uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm okay.
Uncomfortable.
No, comfortable.
Ah,
I am
comfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. What is there in the direction where you four are looking?
Well, we're looking up straight. Why? You can see the sky. It's open. It's an open expanse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So there is nobody.
Sky, no.
Uh-huh.
There's land. Yeah, there's land, sky, horizon. That's it. And it's just very white and bright. Very, very white. Yeah.
Okay, good. And now see in this picture, where are the children in this picture?
You know, when you told me and you said my children, for a moment, I thought it's my own biological children. So I saw them right next to me, and then you clarified the students at the school.
Mm-hmm.
So they came into the same place.
On your left.
So that was, yes, on my left.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How far away from you?
They're all very close on
Very
near my left leg and left arm. They're all huddled around my left leg and arm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now we also add your colleagues, the teachers you're
Yes.
responsible for.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're right in front of me.
In front of you. How far away?
2-3 feet.
Mm-hmm. How many do you see? One or more persons?
Yeah, I see all of them in like huddled in a group. Yeah.
In a group. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where are they looking at?
Some are looking at me and some are looking in other directions. To, like they're facing me, and some are looking here, some are looking there, some are looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And some are facing the other way.
Okay. Right. And you and the other trustees are still looking at the sky.
Yeah, towards the horizon. Yeah. And now, as you asked, yeah, they're looking at the teachers.
Who? Who's looking at the teachers?
Or when you asked, they all looked at them.
Ah, they all turned towards the teachers. Yeah?
Yeah.
All four, including you.
I am yeah, I was looking at them as you asked me to visualize them. I began to look at them.
Okay. Right. How do you feel looking at them?
Inadequate.
What kind of emotion comes up when you say that?
Longing.
A longing. What are you longing for?
Connection.
Hmm.
Acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I would like you to visualize your mother behind them. And tell me if anything of your emotions have changed.
I'm a bit blank now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blank in terms of disconnected to emotions, or How?
Uh, I something my cheek suddenly felt um, I don't know, tightened, and then I couldn't visualize very well. So um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that was the reaction of your mother coming through. Mm-hmm. How tall are you compared to the teachers and compared to your mother? Are you smaller or bigger?
Thanks. That I just noticed that the trustees are very big. I'm as big as them, but the teachers somehow I just realized they're all very small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. And your mother?
Uh, not sure, but I think she's also tall. I
Mm-hmm.
think
You cannot see her clearly.
I can, when she came for a moment, I saw some of the teachers getting, the ones who were close to her, getting a bit scared and backing off, and then I was not very clear, and then I see her again as tall, and then
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is small. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Say to her, please, Mom, I need you.
Please, Mom, I need you.
Please accept me as who I am,
Please accept me as who I,
as your little girl
as your little girl.
who needs you.
I need you.
Please, Mom.
Please, Mom.
Take a few deep breaths and feel how you feel. Feel inside.
It's funny, but suddenly I gave my hand to my husband, and then all four trustees held hands.
Very good. Very good. And how do you feel doing that?
Good, good.
Mm-hmm. Very good. How do the
I feel
children
like
feel?
I,
Yeah,
I
go.
feel like I could ask for their blessing to connect with the teachers. They are all the founders also.
Yes, do that. Ask them to bless yourself, all your colleagues, and all the children. Hmm. How do you feel now?
I still see chaos in that group of teachers, and they're still small.
Hmm.
Uh,
Say to them as well,
I
please, I need you.
please, I need you.
We all need you.
We all need you.
This school wouldn't exist without you.
The school wouldn't exist without you.
The children wouldn't be here without you.
The children wouldn't be here without you.
How does that feel?
I feel my body relaxing, and they were all huddled very close together, so I feel that it's not so crowded and it's loosened up now. They have more space to stand, so they can flex and breathe a little bit more.
And how
So
do you
they're
feel?
all looking around here and there. I'm okay. My body is relaxing.
Very good. Look at your husband and say
Yeah.
to him, if that is true, yes, we are in this together.
Do I have to turn towards him?
Mm.
Just look at him.
Mm.
Yes, we are in this together. There's a tendency to want to take both his hands and say,
Good.
yeah, yes, we are in this together.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. That's it. Okay. When you're ready, in your own time, slowly open your eyes again.
I want to share the last image. It came just as we were closing. Everybody turned and started looking towards me and us, all the trustees, and suddenly everyone was in a line, like 2-3 rows.
Wonderful. It sounds like order to me. Sounds like orders restored. Yeah, very good. Okay, thank you, Navjyoti, for volunteering. So this is an internal constellation. Do you have any questions after this demonstration? Before you do it yourself? Good. As always, everything you learned about the orders of love, the words, the gesture, it's always the same. It never changes. It's just certain different, it's just different circumstances that you, or context that you use it in, but it's always the same. The dynamics are always the same. The group stands for the mother, that's always the same. Yeah. So you can translate everything you have learned in every situation, in a group setting, in an individual setting, working with figurines, or internalizing it. Okay, right. So the exercise is now, you go in group of twos, you have your client conversation, a little conversation going on, an interview. You talk about the issue, and then you as facilitator, you suggest to your client for this issue to either do a floor anchor or internal constellation. And either or, whatever you decide, you start to do that. You don't need to be, I might call you back or to call you to swap before you finish. That's okay. Do not finish it, just swap. Yeah, so everybody has a go. Okay? Okay, cool. So we have, because this takes a little bit time, we have 10 minutes for each of you. So 10 minutes for, 20 minutes in total. You swap after 10 minutes. Yeah, I sent you a message. Okay, so you have time to focus on doing what you do. Right. So tell the whole group again what you did, who was facilitating what, and how that panned out, how you did it. Who starts?
Okay, so yeah, so I started as the facilitator, and Heba wanted to make a choice about what path to take, whether to stay in her current job or move on to a new job. I suggested
And
the
have you
third
suggested the
option.
self-employment thing? It did not come up to my mind.
Yeah. So the third suggestion, I suggested that we put in an option of her being self-employed, and the fourth one was a blank. So we did that, and then when now she didn't know what I'm picking up. So when I picked up the current job, she said, "Oh, I feel disconnected. I'm not interested." Immediately. So that was quick. So we put it away. Then I took the second one in my hand, and I asked her to. So yeah, I was there. I was trying to help her visualize it a bit physically. I invite, now come and stand on this floor and next floor anchor, settle in on it, and then tell me how you feel. And on the next one also, she said, "Well, I feel confused." And then
That would be the new one, the new job.
Yes.
In the same
yeah.
company where we looked at yesterday, the new
Yeah.
department.
No,
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
like
in general,
whether inside
Oh,
or
yeah.
outside the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was not aware, and yeah, and that turned out to be her new job. And then the third option, when she came onto it, she was saying, I'm swaying forward. So, and that was being self-employed. So then I thought the fourth one, the blank one, is not needed. So I said, let's skip it. But she didn't know what it was. So she said, no, let's try the fourth too. So we tried it, and she swayed backward on that.
So no decision is not an option. No,
not yeah. So it was extremely clear and very quick. Yeah.
So self-employed, it is, Heba.
Yes.
You become a systemic coach.
Yeah, I guess so.
First one in Dubai. I don't know, but you know.
We used to have few constellators here in Dubai. I'm still fishing for the same reason, because you wanted to come to Dubai. I'm still fishing because it seems that they have became less now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. So that sounds like a success. How does it feel? How did it feel for you, Navjoti, to do that? To facilitate the floor anchor?
Yeah. Oh, very good. Thank you for the opportunity. And it's so quick and so clear, and there's so much you can trust with your own body.
Great. Awesome. So, and now, Heba, you were facilitating Navjoti. How was that?
It was interesting. So when she was doing the facilitation for me, I was visualizing the thing on the anchor that she's doing. And I did the same thing for her. I wrote the paper. She had like 3 options on how to handle the teachers. And then we left the 4th one empty. I folded, I shoved them, and then picked them up randomly. And she was like telling me which feeling she was getting for each paper, and I was trying the feeling paper. She was only feeling warm and curious and about one. And then so I read each option and what was the feeling she was getting from that option. So as she said, it's quite clear.
What was the answer?
Yeah, no, the question, it was
yeah.
not handle the teachers. It was what work should I focus on with the teachers this year? What work should I focus on? So there were 3 options. One was the holistic approach that we follow at the school, so exploring that. One was classroom practice. One was personal development, and one was blank. So it was a personal development where I was feeling warm and curious. Yeah.
Very good.
All the
Very good.
others were neutral. Yeah.
Very good. Brilliant. Good job. Very good. Thank you for sharing. And then we have Saida and Eva. Who wants to start?
At the beginning, I wanted to say that for both of us, we had what's interesting one question, like one topic, money, and we made internal constellations, both of us. At the beginning, I was explaining what issue I had, and I wanted just to say to you all that Saida guided me so well. It was so fast and so directly and so precise that we came to some kind of one of maybe the reasons why I have such a feeling.
Where did you land then? Where did you end up?
We ended up close to my father that I will shortly explain. I just have a feeling that I can't accept money from my family, that I need to give it back definitely. Definitely. It's so hard for me to accept money from them. And then we ended up to my father, who was hugging me. And because I lost him when I was 11, but already a couple of years he wasn't here, so I had a feeling that I need to take care about my family. So finally, like he was hugging me, I said to him that I need you, and I really felt that. But when Said asked to him to say that, oh, I finally forgot what she said. Saida, could you help me, please?
I am here for you.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
hear
here
you
for you.
later on.
Yes, then I had a feeling that he can't say that because he feels guilty for something, and then we stopped.
Good.
At that
Very
point.
good. That's a big
Yeah.
step. So money,
Yes, it was.
your inability to accept money from the family was the rejection of the father, right?
Yeah.
Good. Very
Yeah,
good.
that was. And when I constellated for Saida, it was again about money, but for us, yeah, we have a little bit too less time, but I had a feeling at the beginning. I also tried to look how the relationship between her and her father, but then we understood that the money doesn't has at the moment a face of father or mother. And then I had a feeling that there's could be something about, I don't know the name in English, but when somebody takes something from you, and you we had that
Fraud,
that
robbery.
yeah. No. The rule what in module 2 we had. Can have family members, victim perpetrator relationship, and what else the name for those?
Advantage and disadvantage giver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that there's something about that, but we stopped because the time was out.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, let's hear Saida. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I facilitated first, and I'm surprised at how quickly and effectively it worked. It was easier to do than I thought it would be. And quite direct, so it's kind of in some when you were describing it, I thought, we need the representatives, we need this, but actually it feels as if when you're visualizing it, then there's less of a filter. But I think that there is something here as well about how we're all training, so we all have an idea and a bit more aware of what we're doing. So it'd be interesting to see what it's like with somebody who is not trained. When I was the client, I was first, when I closed my eyes and Eva said, "Can you see yourself?" I was like, I don't know how, but I still did. I could see, and then it kind of it made sense. I was surprised.
Very good. So when you say you feel it is easier to facilitate an internal constellation because it's so instant, did you say instant or what? What did you say?
There's, I mean, I think there, I think, so the client says to you, you know, what, because they're hearing it immediately.
Mm-hmm. So what is also, that's a good observation. What is on top of that is that when you don't have people or figurines, meaning physical appearances of the family members, it's like you are closer to the morphogenetic field because they don't have that neither. The morphogenetic field consists only of information. It's instant. Everything is instant. It's right there. It's right there. There's no time. There's no space in between. And when you do the internal constellation, you're kind of close to that. You're tapping into the same kind of realm. So yeah, so it's definitely if it works for you, then it's definitely the quickest and most spot on method to do constellations if you have the client who can follow. Yeah, you can work with. Yeah. Very good. That's a great observation. That also shows that internal constellation, working with figurines and working with people representing are three different methods that have all their how can I say their space at the right time with the right people. So you can have all three modalities in your toolkit to do the same work with the orders of love. All right.
Maya, what if how do you differentiate if what is coming through in an internal constellation is authentic and accurate and it's not wishful thinking or it's not made up?
The difference is the trust in the morphogenetic field. If you completely, yeah.
So it's interesting because at one point, Eva said to me, "Can you say please to your dad?" And I just knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So even though it's intellectually, I can say the words, but in that space, I couldn't say it because it wasn't true.
Yeah. Fantastic. And that's why you can trust the field. So in this space, whoever says what is what you go with. The intellectualization or the rationalization of what is said comes later, even if it's just a split second. So the thought about was it me, was it made up, or is it made up by somebody else comes after the words, yeah, after the emotions, after the feelings, yeah. So this, you know, the first thing that occurs, the first thing that is said, the first thing that is thought of is what the morphogenetic field sends you as information. And that's the trust in it. So nobody can really make anything up in this space. It is actually impossible. Even if they think they do. Even if they think they do. But therefore it is, and that's what I urge you to do, to very carefully apply the method of Bert Hellinger. Because in this space that you're creating here with following this steps, following the facilitator skills, you can trust the field. You know you are in the space and time of the morphogenetic field. If you would leave these guidelines, if you don't work with the orders of love, for example, or if you mix other things in there, then you will lose the trust, and there's a good reason for that, because how could you trust anymore? You are opening up the field to influences of the mind, of whatever. So if you're sticking to the clean, pure work of Bert Hellinger that I try to convey in this course and not divert from it, you can trust. You can trust that everything is happening from the field.
If I think that's the thing that I was really surprised about, because there was one sentence that I asked Eva to say, and she couldn't say it, and she said, "But I can say this," and I thought that was it was if we had representatives, it could have been the same, but in terms of the truth of the subject and the truth of what Eva could and couldn't say. I'm surprised because it's all just visualization.
Interesting, eh? Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Brilliant. You did a great job. Also, when I was popping in your rooms and listening a little bit, so I think you're really stepping into the shoes of a facilitator more and more, which is great, because now that you have almost all the theoretical contact, you can put it all into practice on a daily basis with your friends and families, on the practice workshops. You can observe it in the open workshops when you see constellations with other people. So now this all can come to light. Now that's brilliant. Very good. So we have our 10 minutes now. Take our break, and I see you then. Now let's talk about systemic coaching and have a closer look at that and what that is. So systemic coaching is a word that, if you Google it and if you look online for what it stands, it just means that, you know what coaching is. You have an individual you are working with. You have an individual you want to help to achieve something. You can be a coach in a sport, for example. Then you have an athlete that you want to coach to be better. You can have a coach in school. There are coaches for students, so there's a student and help them solve their problems with their workload or with the teacher or something like that. You can have a coach in pretty much every situation. Sometimes you have coaches that coach your as a small business. You have a coach that is coaching you how to perform better with your business, how to be more efficient, and all of these things. So a coach is kind of working with one individual. Systemic coaching, however, is when you look not only at the individual, but you look at the system the individual lives in. Yeah. And that has per se nothing to do with family constellation. A systemic coach is just taking the individual and putting it back into the context. So when there is like a work situation, they are not looking at an employee and trying, like, on their personal development, how they can cope better. They would look at the department they are in, they would look at the whole company they are in, and they would see if there are some, I would call it dynamics, some strings attached to each other that would help you, the individual, to cope better in the system. Yeah. And by the definition, if you will, if you think that's the definition of systemic coaching, then you already understand that family constellation is nothing else than systemic coaching, because we are coaching the client in the context of its family system. Yeah, that's what we do. But nobody really uses this word for that. Systemic coaching is kind of in the context of family constellation reserved for constellating organizations, like we did yesterday. So that's where you would, hear it more often in this context, quite synonymously used with organization constellation, or systemic constellation, or system constellation. These are the words in the context it is normally used. So when you do this, if you take an individual and at the system the individual is integrated in, and look at it in order to find that what helps the individual, yeah, then you inevitably need to look somewhere for a rule, a regulation, an order, because otherwise you don't know. When you don't know the order, you don't know the disorder, so you don't know where the system is lacking to help and support the individual, right? And that brings us back to the orders of love. of Bert Hellinger. So without the knowledge of the orders of love, I wouldn't even know how to systemically coach. Like, what would be the balance I'm looking? What am I looking for? Yeah. What dynamics am I looking at? So I really don't know how these people who are doing systemic coaching doing this without any knowledge of the orders of love. Anyhow, but that's put that aside. We know the orders of love, and so we can coach in a system from a completely different angle. We know where we are looking for reconciliation or honored respect, also in organization constellation. It's the same. The orders, the first order of love, who belongs, the second order of love, a precedent, and the third order of love are all balance of giving and taking. All applies. They all apply also to organization. They just look a little bit different. So as you have seen yesterday with our figurine board, we can constellate an organization, we can apply the same words, we can look at the same dynamics, we find the same dynamics, we find like a mother-father relationship, a child-parent relationship, we find a perpetrator-victim relationship, an advantage-disadvantage giver relationship. We find all of these in the organization, and when you look very closely, they are all reflecting the client's family system dynamic, because we are looking subconsciously for the same disorder in other aspects of our life as we experience in our family system. We are resonating with it. It's like a magnet. We're drawn to that. Yeah. Until, of course, we can let it go. And until we can actually find the balance and get the flow of love going, or find this honor and respect that needs to be applied wherever it was missing. And then it will also change in the system, in the workplace, for example. This is how we do that. This is our work as a systemic coach. So therefore, we use family constellation to help individuals within an organization. And that's a method that is widely used in Germany, where it is originated. Also in other countries, I know in South America, very popular. Even in Russia, I've heard, has gained a lot of momentum. I don't know whether Eva knows more about it, but that's what I have heard. That it kind of becomes more of a more an integrated practice into the coaching community, into the coaching profession. So we are constellating organizations with the same methodology as we use constellating family systems, right? So there's no difference. We are also looking for the balance in the organization, meaning we are looking where's the imbalance from the way let's say we work with figurines, from the way the figurines are placed to each other, right? From the way they are represented with size, with colors, with shapes, with sign of the direction of sight, and all of this. This is all giving us the same ideas of where the unbalance is in an organization as it would be in a family system. We also work with the 3 orders of love in an organization, although we not necessarily need to name them. If the client we are working with is not particularly familiarized with family constellation, the method of Bert Hellinger, we not necessarily need to say that. We can still say we constellate an organization and apply the knowledge of the 3 orders of love. And as always, we are looking for the missing, the one who's not mentioned, the one who is not seen, the one who is dismissed, the one who is neglected, the one who is cast out. That is where we are looking for whenever we are constellating a system, right? If we would only coach the individual, we wouldn't look for this, a missing person anywhere, of course. But when we are systemically coaching, that's what we do. We are looking for that. So we will have another go on the figurine board to make that more visible. We had that was earlier in the and when you rewatch the videos, the video 1, you will see that there was a brief excursion, the orders of love in the light of an organization. If you rewatch that, then now you come to full circle, right? Because when we said who comes first is first, and we are thinking of the ancestors, the great-grandfather, grandfather, father, and then children, that's our order of precedence, who comes first. Then in an organization, that is quite similar. Who comes first is the founder. And then after the founder, the next one, whoever was there, right, the director, or and then the first employees, regardless what kind of education they have. The education is not giving the precedent. The education is not telling anything about the order of precedence. Yeah. Just because somebody has a higher qualification doesn't mean they come before somebody who's there for longer, right? And that is important to understand, that we are working with the orders of love. Yeah, that doesn't mean that the one who doesn't have the qualification can do the job of the one who has the qualification. That's not what we say. Yeah, it also doesn't say that they can have the same responsibilities. It just means that they have the right, as one who was first there, to be honored as the one who was first there, right? And that is missing. That's one of the most common imbalances in organization, that this is not obeyed. Yeah. And that the culture of the organization, coming all the way from the management, is not supporting that. So the disorder and the imbalance is kind of implemented into the organization right there. Because they are only looking at what salary if somebody has, and who has a higher salary comes before the one who has a lower salary, right? But in the orders of love, that doesn't mean anything. The salary doesn't mean nothing. Yeah, there is no such thing as if you earn more, you come first, right? And we just need to translate the orders of love into an organization. And when you go back to the videos and you watch the videos, then you will also then now maybe better understand and memorize that if you are working with larger organizations, then, for example, the management comes before the actual people working there, because the management is kind of the father, yeah, giving stability and the backbone to the organization, right? Without that, that would all fall away, yeah. So let's talk about a hospital like Heber has looked at last time. Well, no, it wasn't a hospital. It was an insurance. It was a hospital, wasn't it? Or was it an insurance company?
The insurance departments in hospitals.
Yeah, it was in a hospital, right? So let's take the hospital as an example. The doctors who you think are the most important part of a hospital are in the orders of love, coming actually after the management. Yeah, after the people who are organizing the hospital. Yeah, to set the structure in which the structure the doctors can work, and the nurses. Without the structure, the doctors and nurses could not work there. Yeah, it would be chaotic, right? So that's what the orders of love is translated into organization. So you just revisit module 1, and you will see now, and when you hear this me saying, and you see the chart, then you can connect the dots finally. Yeah. And other than that, it is exactly the same as we do family constellations. Like, as you have seen in the internal constellation, as you have seen with figurine boards, as you have seen in the workshops, we're always doing the same. There's no confusion. Yeah. There's nothing different if you are systemically coaching or if you are facilitating a family constellation. So we will have, when we went through the last slides, we will have another go at the figurine board and look at another organization today. So let me just briefly talk about breathing exercises, just in case you want to include that into your coaching when you use client. only do that when you feel confident about it. If you already do that, if you're a yoga teacher or you have other teaching that you follow or you do yourself, you're valuing breathing exercises, great, use them. They would go very well with the work of a systemic coach. They can be used to calm the client down, bring them into alpha state. They can be used to vitalize, to even to heal physical ailments. The breath can be used, yeah. But of course, it is not integral part of a systemic coaching, yeah. But if you are happy to include it, then great. For example, in my practice, because I'm trained in a certain type of yoga, I use this deep belly breath, yogic breath, or ujjayi breath, how we call it, that is often instantaneously releasing some tenseness in the client. Yeah, if I see a client is tense, then we definitely take 3 deep belly breaths together, at least 3. Open mouth breathing is very good for releasing long hold tension. And you know already that you use it when you look at the client and they have a sigh of relief. A sigh of relief is nothing else than an open mouth breath, right? And that's what you're looking for in a family constellation anyhow. That's what you're looking for to see if your client has actually this release, is when this big sigh comes, or a subtle sigh, doesn't matter, right? You can also use the technique of observing the natural rhythm of the breath when you work with your client. So he comes or she comes into a meditative state, and that would bring you to alpha. That could bring you into alpha or theta state. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to do a rebirthing or regression, that would be recommended to do that. We don't do an exercise now. I think it's a better time spent on our figurine board. But as I said, if you are confident with breathing exercises, use these skills and make it part of your systemic coaching. Same as with guided, well, not the same. So guided meditations you need to use, right? This is not kind of optional. There are circumstances when you need to guide your client into a certain state. Like in the regression, you always do that with the guided meditation, that you guide them into their peaceful place, where they can release any tension, where they can release worries, where they feel safe. That is, you guide them. You take them by the hand, basically, and guide them there. That's what we call a guided meditation. We also use guided meditation in workshop settings. It's a brilliant tool to start a workshop with. You know, like the guided meditation I have on my website when you sign up for the newsletter, the gift, that's a typical example of a guided meditation. Or when you come on my open workshops and you hear me doing a guided meditation, not everyone has deep insights, but some do gain deep insights out of a guided meditation. A beautiful guided meditation in our line of work is, of course, to connect with the family system. One example would be the gift on the website. Another guided meditation would be you guide your client to get the support from a family member. That would be an ancestor, for example, or the grandfather, or even the father, whoever your client is seeing in the guided meditation. You use the method of guided meditation to connect with the inner child, with the soul. And some traditions is called the inner child. And that is nothing else than connecting back the soul that has been traumatized and is still stuck in this situation where the trauma occurred. Right? And this is where we say we have disconnected with our inner child. That's nothing else than a traumatized child that is stuck there. And we haven't really been able to take away there and bring with us into the now. So we have a meditation for that, and we did that actually when we went, this in the regression through the spiritual healing step by step. That's exactly what we do there. We reconnect the client with their inner child. So the soul is not disconnected anymore. You can guide your client to let go of foreign energies or giving back energies that are not theirs to somebody they need to part from. That's also step-by-step guidance. You don't give the client any choices. You want them to see exactly what you tell them to see, right? So this is different to an internal constellation where you want to know what the client sees so you can facilitate. Now you don't care what the client, you want them to follow your voice because you know that in the end they can release any kind of foreign energies they are or emotions they are carrying with them. You can, in a guided meditation, release family members that you know that are stuck, also traumatized, that kind of missed the train or the bus, that want to move on. We have done that before, so this is also a guided meditation, right? So for energy, emotional, and spiritual healing, you can always use your own if you have a training in what any kind, or use the ones from module 4 to only when you feel confident to apply that in a friends and family situation or with a client. That is great, but make sure that you are not mixing it up with like within a constellation. So it is either before or after, yeah? So it's not really, you're not putting it in a mixer and put the power on and let it become a gray mess. Yeah, it is either or. And that is best also in coaching sessions to be practiced. Yeah, and this is also how you can integrate them into family constellation. Yeah, either at the beginning or at the end, right? So how only if you feel confident. I'm not saying that is part a necessary part of facilitating family constellation or systemic coaching, but you can do that, yeah. So in between, you can only use it if you have a clear cut. If you find in the family constellation you come to a point where there is some emotional or spiritual healing necessary, then you kind of stop it there. You do the emotional or spiritual healing, and then you continue, if still necessary, with the family constellation. Yeah. So, and then you have, when you have a systemic coaching session, you will close it up. That's pretty much the same that we have talked about at in the one-on-one session. You like to stick to your time frame. That's somehow important. This is, you plan your session ahead of time and you keep about 5 minutes for the closing. It doesn't need to be long. Just not as long as the intro, but like 5 minutes would be good, yeah? You always make sure when you have worked with your client in alpha state that they are out there, that they are present, awake, aware. You avoid to talk about the session in retrospective. Once it's done, it's done. Yeah, remember, you really don't want to go back there. You make a plan with the client where to go from here. They will always ask you, so what am I doing now? Yeah, what am I doing now? And then if you say nothing, that's a very true and very accurate answer. It's not very satisfying for the client. Yeah? So you would probably talk a little bit more about that. You would explain that the movement has taken place, that the soul will continue to move forward, that they don't need to do anything specific to support it because it has been done in the constellation. That has all been dealt with. Now they just have to trust that everything is in order. They should refrain from talking to random people about their experience and only share that with people that are supporting their journey. Now, that's what I always say. Make sure you only talk to to people who are on your side and not trying to make you worry or doubt or anything like this. Also, you will maybe ask for a review because, you know, when you're starting working, you need reviews to put on your website, to put on the internet, Facebook. So don't forget about that. and don't let them go without asking them if they have a minute or two to write a review on Facebook or send you an email or something like that. And you can schedule the next appointment if your client wants that. So you are not suggesting it, other than in very rare circumstances. I can only remember a few times when I said to the client, I would suggest you book another appointment where we do a rebirthing, because in the constellation came up that a rebirthing would be necessary. And I think that's appropriate to say, whenever you're ready, book an appointment for rebirthing. But I would never say book another appointment for another constellation. Yeah, I always leave that to the field. The field will sort that out. Okay, let's go into.
Maya,
Yes.
just wanted to ask Maya, rebirthing parents can ask for a rebirthing for their own child?
The parent for their own child. So that was from the perspective of the child.
Yeah, for example, my child had a C-section and he had a cord around his neck and so on. So can I do a rebirthing with you on his behalf?
Yes, I would say so. That would be like a constellation. You would. So let me think about it. So you wouldn't do your own birth. You would do you would actually do your own birth. You would go back to the giving birth to your child, right? Because you're the mother. So I think we could do a rebirthing. It would be worth trying. I can see that is possible. If you would be the father, I'm not quite sure how we do it. We would probably go do a constellation rather than a rebirthing. But as a mother who has actually given birth to the same child, I think yes. I don't think I have done it before. It would be interesting to see how it goes, especially from the perspective of your son. Yeah. Yeah, but I can see that working. Yeah. So a little bit about troubleshooting. So what do you do when the client cannot get out of alpha state? You know how we say, take your client back into the room, take him out of alpha state, and then you close. So what is if they don't come out of alpha state? What are you doing? What do you think?
Maybe we can use more like specific tasks. For example, take down your roll, put it somewhere close to you on the ground or something like that. Maybe to visualizing more. Yes, taking out or taking down something.
Yeah. Or how about taking a bucket of cold water? and throwing it in their face. So I'm just joking about it, because this can actually not happen. The client is not in hypnosis. Yeah, they are in a relaxed state. The only thing that can happen is that they fell asleep. So you literally wake them up. This is why I said the bucket of cold water. Yeah, you just need to wake them up. They are kind of too deep in alpha state, so that means they have fallen asleep, more or less. Yeah. So deal with that. Don't make a thing out of it, and don't think you have to kind of perform something to get your client or even a representative out of anything. Yeah, that is in their mind. That's literally going on in their mind. That is actually not possible.
Yeah, but it was interesting to read in Hellinger's acknowledging what it is. And also, I think I have seen one video that some representatives had that feeling that they can't get out of the role and stuff like that. And then he used this, like, take it off and stuff like that. Yes.
Exactly. And that is, you can do that. And that's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you, behind the scenes, they are just making it up. That's my experience. They're making it up. I'm not saying they do that deliberately. They might feel like it, yeah, but they are not in hypnosis. They are not possessed by any spirits. There is no reason why they cannot just say, okay, I'm done, because they are just channeling information, right? But if they are really, you are going here borderline into the realm of mentally impaired people, yeah, they often have this impression of feeling that they are not themselves. But they not only have that in the family constellation, they will have that at other times too. Well,
Oh yeah, sorry, a bit off track, but the recent workshop we had, there was one person in the constellation who was moving her head round and round
yeah,
like this.
brilliant. I noticed that too. Yes.
Yeah, and she was saying absurd things. She was, I think she was representing the older sister, and first she said, and she was referring to the younger one and saying, but she's a ghost, and that's why I cannot accept her. And then again she said something very odd about herself, and she was doing that.
So that was a clear sign that she was representing a mentally ill people. Remember when I talked to you, the circling is schizophrenia, sign of psychosis? That's exactly what we saw in the workshop. Was anybody else there other than Avjoti? And I think Saida was there too, and Eva, yeah.
Yeah.
You've noticed too, eh? So that was really, really good to see in action, right? How that looks.
Maya, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about that? That I have heard that some people say, for example, that they can't use family constellations because they have a feeling that then something or somebody is taking the energy of them. Is it really, what's your opinion about other people taking off or giving back energy, and that it could happen like without any your permission or acceptance? Then for example, I am coming to you, okay, Maya, I will take something from you, and you can't do anything and you give me your energy. What do you think about that kind of things?
I think you are dealing with people who are drawn to the realm of esoteric. And I have not much regards for this stuff. Yeah, it's all made up. There's nothing real in there, and you can make a whole industry out of that. Then you need crystals and you need sage and nobody can, other than we talked about possessive energy and spirit and how to release them. That's the only kind of thing that can happen, right? Because everything else is kind of made up in the mind. That's not real. So how do you talk to people who see ghosts and say they are real? How do you do? How can you tell somebody who said a ghost is following me to get rid of the ghost when the ghost doesn't exist? Yeah. So this is all a realm where I would just turn away and I wouldn't discuss, and I would not bother. I would not bother. Be assured, when you follow this mythology of Bert Hellinger that I try to convey here closely, this cannot happen. So if somebody claims it happens, that's a ghost. That's simply made up. We are not inviting any spirits. We are not inviting energies to work with us. We don't need them. We are connecting to the morphogenetic field. That's the field of information. That's it. No energies, information. And we are getting an information and we are translating it like a Google translator into an emotion or into facial expression. Yeah, it's just the information. There is nobody else at work. So we don't need to get rid of anybody. We say we have used this information, we give it back to wherever it came from. It's as soon as it's used, it's gone already. And that's really, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You will always have people like this to a certain extent. Do not worry about it. Do not worry about it. That's their own thing. Leave them alone. Let them do their own thing. Yeah. There's one exemption, and we talked about that earlier. When you are in a family constellation, in a group session, and somebody's representing and has a very strong reaction in this role, yeah, that they pretend or they think they cannot get out of the role. That only means that they have an issue that is related to the role, and the only way to deal with that is that they have a constellation about the issue. Yeah. But that is nobody's possessed, but that's their own stuff coming up. Heft, like extreme, triggered by the role they were representing. And so, yeah, you do a constellation with them. That would be the appropriate step to do. That's the only thing I can think of that you really work with somebody who probably thinks they cannot step out of the role, but in fact, they are in their own role already. They have kind of skipped the sitting on the chair talking to the facilitator part. They just went right into it from the representative role into the client role. Right? Otherwise, I would not worry. If you wouldn't be well educated in facilitating, and you would, fish around a little bit and do this and do that, yes, you can be in trouble with these things. You might invite spirits. What do I know? You might invite energies into the group that you are facilitating. That's possible, but we don't do that. No? There's absolutely no need to do that. And I haven't taught you how to do that, and I will not, because I don't do that neither. And there's no good outcome of that ever. This is why we stay away from intuitives, of psychics, of any kind of esoteric stuff, and we do our work. It's very scientific, and we are always safe, always guided, if you will, by the field. So when the client said they cannot get out of alpha state, and they are the bucket method doesn't work, you know how to do the bucket method, because they are not asleep. Yeah, you can always, if you are unsure, and just to keep you safe, do a short regression back to the session and just guide them out there again. Just repeat the last step. Yeah, and I'm sure that will be nothing by the end of the repetition. It will be all fine. Yeah. What is about the client is not happy? Let's say you have a constellation, the time is spent, movement has been taking place, it was all guided, it's all good, and the client is just not happy because he didn't get the result they thought they were coming for. How do you deal with these kind of clients?
I always think, did I do my job properly? And if I did, then it's about the client. It's not about me.
Exactly. We cannot make people happy. We cannot make our parents happy. We cannot make our partners happy. They are all responsible for their own happiness. That would be even arrogant to think that we can make somebody else happy. They make themselves happy or unhappy. That's exactly right. So rest assured, if the client is not happy, then you know that's their issue. How you deal with it? You let them in this state. You don't need to make it better for them. It's a good place to be in, and maybe step out and come out of this and want to further develop and grow. It's not your problem at all. So do not say anything like you are sorry or you apologize, anything like this. Don't make it your own. Yeah. Just tell your client, movement has taken place. You could clearly see this here, let's say on the board, yeah? Healing doesn't mean that everything gets better or sugarcoat everything. That's not healing. Healing just means there is a step and a movement taken place in a new direction. And how that feels is out of our hands. Yeah. And it can be, like when you have another healing session with, let's say, I don't know, with the chiropractic or so, right? It could be worse after and then get better. And that's the same with family constellation or any other spiritual healing. It doesn't need to feel good, and healing takes place anyhow. So that's what you could explain to your client, but don't make it your own. Don't apologize or think you have to add something. You have to extend your session, and look at something or something. Or now you look at your client's unhappiness. That's a very selfish thing. Like they are very self-absorbed if they expect to be happy after the session, like happy. So you talk about your client, basically about their expectations, and clarify that. Yeah. Of course, there's a slightly chance if you have worked with the client and they have represented a family member that was unhappy, that they might actually still in the morphic field, that they are kind of still representing the whatever grandfather or not themselves. So you would just say, if you think that could be the case, and you would just say, we leave it here. We leave the morphogenetic field. We leave it here. That would be enough. You can give the client a time frame to let the work settle in. So you can say, I understand you're not happy, and that's totally okay. Give yourself 3 weeks or 3 days, right? Or even just 24 hours, yeah? And don't question that, and see how you feel then. And I'm sure you will be better then, something like that to look forward to. So they leave your practice and they have the feeling that, that's not the end of everything. If you, for some reason, you are not, if you have the clear impression that you haven't finished the constellation, that they are in the middle of a movement and there could be more done, like you just came, like let's say you were clearing an interrupted movement to the mother, maybe in 3 generations, and you saw an entanglement in the 4th generation, yeah? As we said before, you're not suggesting to the client to make another family constellation, but you can tell the client if they want to, they can book another appointment, and we see where we take it from there. Yeah? Because we're never continuing from one constellation to the next one. The next time they come, everything starts new again. Yeah. And then you have to follow up, send email as follow up, just to remind them that you are there to serve if they needed to. Invite them to other events, your friendship circles or meditation group or whatever you have. It's always good to have a group together and make them part of it, so you can stay in contact with it. Yeah. As I said, if they want, then you make an appointment for another session. You can give them special offers for some reason if you wanted to. Sign up to your newsletter if you have one, and of course, ask them to leave a review. That's very important. Before we do our last constellation of the day, I just let you know that I have this figurine board that is from Switzerland for sale. I have imported them from Switzerland. They are made by hand. They are all solid timber, one beautiful timber, and they come in this set. I have one here. I can show you that here. They come in this set. This is the size, and they have 2 sides. One has 2 squares and one is blank, and then on both sides here are the figurines, right? They come out. They are with magnets. It's very helpful. It's great when you travel. It's great when you travel. So they come out like this. These are the figurines, and they have the same. I use the same. I just have more. So you have 2 sets of those, and you have males in 3 sizes and different colors. You have females in 3 sizes and different colors, and you have neutral kind of thingies here, right? So that's a brilliant set to start working with. if you consider, I have no idea how much postage it would be in your countries, but I will, if you would like one, I would inquire how much postage it would be to your country. So that's that. And then, what is the last one here? And then, hang on, where's the next one? Here we go. And then I have this for you. Congratulations. Yeah. So now you have finished 42 hours of teaching content. That's a lot. And you got all the information to facilitate a family constellation in the method of Bert Hellinger. Now, all you need now is to repeat the teaching content, meaning watch the video recordings and read about the constellations and watch YouTube videos to memorize the information. And then you practice to turn the information into knowledge, because it needs to be applied to become knowledge. And then, of course, you live your life in the light of the orders of love, and you will gain wisdom, right? That's how you gain wisdom. If you live like it, if you walk the walk and not talk the talk. Continue to personally grow by working on your issues and emotions, and you will drop any tendencies to judge and criticize yourself and others, and then you become love. And once you become love, you can hear. Right. So I leave you with this, and now I will stop sharing this slide, and we have another constellation to finish off our modules. So the topic is systemic coaching. So last time, I think yesterday we had Heba and her organization. And then we had Navjoti today. So it's up to Eva and Saida to look at something. Anything comes to mind?
I have something, but I don't mind, Eva, if you want to go ahead.
No, please, Saida, do it.
Thank you. So in the system, right? Or in an organization, or is it the same
Tell me what
thing?
you have in your mind.
So I struggle with finding a sense of belonging, and so there's systemic challenges that I face, like, you know, racism, Islamophobia, misogyny, sexism, things like this. And I would just, and so I spend a lot of time, if I'm honest, working with very privileged white males. And interestingly,
in what
I'm married.
Function? In what function?
I do some what function? I go in to teach and to support, but there is a thing about they don't want to pay me, and I tend to do it for free. That's how I feel. And yet my colleagues get charged significant amounts of money, and they are paid whatever it is they want.
And your colleagues are male, white males? Is that what you say?
They're white females. There's one black man. They're but the majority of them actually are white, British, and female. And some of them come from very privileged backgrounds, some don't. I don't mind being different. There's something for me that I stick out, and I don't mind looking different, but I feel different. And so when I can go in, I can feel confident,
Mhm.
But then when I leave, I always feel very tired or exhausted or frustrated or something.
Mhm. All right. So are you working for an organization? Are you self-employed? How does it work?
So I work for myself. If I had a salary, it would, but I don't want the constraint of working for an organization.
Mhm.
But when I bid for work, the feedback I will get is that my proposal is excellent, but it's too risky to work with me. They want to work with somebody else because it's safer, um, or um, they'll invite me in and not want to pay me for doing that work.
So who is they and what kind of invitation is that?
So it can be a range of different clients. So it's
How do they know from
organization,
you?
because people recommend me.
To do
So,
what?
so to do workshops for them on um, leadership development, on coaching, on things like this.
Mhm. And then you have then you're invited to come, and then they see you, and then they have the impression that they don't trust you are doing a good job, or they want you to do it for free. Why?
Oh, why do they? Because they say that they want it, but they don't have a budget. So they
Aha.
trust me. They know I'm good at the job, but they'll come up with a million excuses for saying that they don't want to pay for it. And then I will go and do it for free.
Ah.
And I'm
Is this a
getting
charity then, or is that
no. They have the money. They
Aha.
have them. I know they have the money,
Okay.
but they're just not giving it to me.
Interesting. Hmm. And you do it nevertheless. Why?
I don't know why, and that's
Hmm.
what I want to work out.
Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. I have no idea. Let me put my camera on. We will use the figurines for that. Okay, here they are. So how do we start? There's of course you. Who's you?
You see the really tiny one that's near to the board?
There's one.
That
There's
one.
that one.
That one. Yeah.
That would be this one. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we what? How can you say? We need a figurine for your potential client.
See the red one with the small green one in front of it?
That one.
Nope, to the
That one.
that one. Yeah.
That would be organizations or businesses.
Yeah, but it's much further away from me. Like,
Huh?
and it's not looking at me.
Right. Which way is looking?
The other way, 180 degrees the other way. That's it.
Like this. Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Then we need a figurine for your skills.
See the white one that is the oblong? No, no. The other one, keep in front of that. That's it. Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Actually, the other one,
That one.
the one, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so these are your skills.
Yeah.
And then we need a figurine for money.
Mm. So the skills can be right next to me.
Which side? There or the other?
So no, to the left. That's
The other
it.
side?
No, left. Oh, that's it. Yeah. To the side, then maybe.
Oh, hang on. I think I have to turn that around. So the figurine, the white figurine is on your right side.
Okay, then can you move it 45 degrees so that it's then behind me?
Like
That's it.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Um,
And looking at?
And looking at my back, and I'm looking forward as well.
Forward in the same direction as the white one?
Yeah, I can't see the whole board now, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like this?
Yeah.
Like this?
If you want, you can move them in the same position, but just move them somewhere else to the board so that it's easy for us to see.
They're a little bit closer, like
Yeah.
this.
That's it. Fantastic.
Okay. Now we also not only need one for money, but we also need one for the benefiters of your work. That's not the clients, it's their employees, when I understand you right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the benefiters of your or beneficiaries of your work and for money. So what would that be?
Okay, so the beneficiaries of my work would be the big yellow one at the back, but the female shaped one, the other one. That's it.
Oh, that one.
No, the one at the back.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the beneficiaries of my work, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of like somewhere in the middle, between the organization and me, the other, but to the front, bit more. That's it. And just a little, that's it. Yeah.
And where they look? Where do they look?
They're looking at the space in the middle. So 180 degrees turn.
Okay. Like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this. Okay, and now we place the money.
So the money is the black one to the front. That one, yeah.
And where would that go?
Can you turn the board a bit? Sorry.
Yeah, hang on, I put it down.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so the money is to the side of the red one of the organization.
That one?
Yeah, that's it. And it's looking at the organization. That's it.
Like this.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah.
Okay, so now look at it. You can do some last adjustments. So here we have you, your skills, the beneficiaries, the employees of this organization, which are your clients, and the money.
Yeah. I think the beneficiaries are just a little bit more close to me. Just a tiny bit. But
Like
back a little bit as well. That's it, yeah.
Great. Okay. So now we all, not only me, we are all observing now the board and see what we see. What do we see? We are looking at placement, sizes, colors, line of sight, gender. What do we see here? Everyone.
Saida has chosen like the tiniest
Mhm.
figurine to represent herself.
Exactly, the tiniest.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the color?
Uh, her color is yellow, right?
Yeah.
So I think you said yesterday it's about happiness, but it
Right,
would
that's correct.
feel a little bit, it would feel a little bit weird. That would be she would be happy in this situation.
Aha. Here we go. Because our perception is,
Yeah. So may I say something?
yeah,
But yeah,
Saida?
So clearly, I mean, I'm not happy, which is why we're talking about it. But when I was growing up, and my mom would say to me, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" My answer was to be happy.
Here you go. Very good. Very good. So what the little figurine with the color yellow is pointing at is that there is a conditioning going on. Yeah. A childhood conditioning. That you are small, but you need to be happy about being small. So you cannot be bigger and happy. You need to be small if you want to be happy. That's the conditioning I see.
Yeah, I mean, I
Can
wasn't
you
happy
follow
when
me?
I was young, but
Are you happy now?
I'm happy in most things, but I'm not happy in my work.
And we are looking at your work. And there, for you, the conditioning is you need to make yourself small in your work, in your position, to be happy in your work. You cannot be big and strong and demanding and happy in the workplace. That's what I see when I look at the figurine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. However, your skills are bigger. Hmm? They are supporting you. They are behind you. They are supporting you. Hmm?
Yes.
So you rely on your skills, and that's probably what makes you actually go to the customers, although you are small. But
Yeah.
the customers, they don't look at you. They look away, right?
Yeah.
But however, the money, the way it is placed, it does not only look at their owner, at the company, it does look also in your direction,
Mm.
right? So there is a relationship. There's something going on. There's some kind of relationship. And the beneficiaries of your work, now they are happy and they are tall. They are in their power.
Mm.
They are, and they have the strength. We are placing a figurine for the beneficiaries of your work. So after you have worked with them, otherwise they wouldn't be the beneficiaries of your work. Yeah. So that means you help them to come into their power, to gain happiness and strength. That's what it means with your skills. But you still make yourself small to do so.
Mm.
You keep yourself small to do so. You do not allow yourself to be at the same eye height with everybody else. Hmm? And that's a conditioning. Or an entanglement. Yeah, could be both. Could be a traumatic experience or an early childhood conditioning or an entanglement. How do you feel when you look at the figurine?
At mine.
Yeah, or at the board, at all of them.
So I feel very content when I see the beneficiaries. I feel supported by my skills. Frustrated at the relationship between the money and the organization, but I know I feel as if that's the case, and I feel very sad when I see myself.
Okay. Very good. Is this a sadness that you know? Are you familiar with the sadness?
My gut feeling was yes, and then immediately after that, I wanted to say no.
Okay, we go with yes then. Listen to your gut. How old do you feel when you look at this figurine?
I
When you
feel
go into
tired.
sadness? How old?
2 or 3.
Yeah. What happened when you were 2 or 3? Is this when your father left?
No. So what happened? I mean, intellectually, I don't know, but the answer that's coming to me is that there was lots of arguments, and my sister was born.
Your sister was born. And who was arguing?
My parents.
They were fighting.
They always fought. Yeah.
And you are the oldest?
I am.
So close your eyes and see your father and your mother fighting. And you're the little one. What are you feeling sad now?
I feel angry, actually. I just want them to stop.
Good. Say to them, please, I'm just a little one. Say it out loud.
I just want to say, please stop.
But say, please, I'm just a little one. See how it goes.
Please, I'm just a little one.
I have nothing to do with it.
I feel like it's all my fault.
Exactly. Exactly that it is. Exactly. Now say again, I'm just a little one.
I'm just a little one.
You are the big one.
You are the big ones.
What you have in common has nothing to do with me.
What you are doing has nothing to do with me.
I'm just a little one.
I'm just a little one.
You are the big one.
You are the big ones.
You do the decision.
You do the what? Sorry?
You decide. You do the decision.
You do the decision.
Not me.
Not me.
How does that feel in your gut? In your heart?
It's right. I don't know if they heard me, but it's right.
Say to them, please, I need your love.
Please, I need your love.
I'm just a little one.
I'm just a little one.
Hmm. How does that feel when you say that now?
Yeah, it feels true.
Good. Very good. Very, very good. Very good.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, they stopped arguing and they're looking at me, but
Good.
I can sense their sadness now.
Good. Can you go
Mm.
to them?
Yeah, I'm in front of them.
Very good. Then hug them. Grab a pillow and hug them.
I'm finding it really hard, but because I want them to hug me.
Hmm. You hug their legs. They are so big. You are so small.
Mm.
So small as if the smallest figurine on on the board. You just hug their legs and repeat, "I'm just a little one.
I'm
You are
just
the
a
big
little
one.
one. You're the big one.
You came first,
You came first.
then I came.
Then I came.
I'm just a child.
I'm just a child.
You are the adult.
You are the adults.
Yeah. And I need you.
And I need you.
Keep breathing in and out. Open your heart. Keep your heart open. The love coming from your parents. The unconditional love. The nourishing love. The love from the source of love. Where there is no emotion. There is no conditions attached. Pure life-giving creative love that created your life and sustained it. This love is what you breathe in deep into your heart. Nothing else. Everything else you leave with them. It's theirs, not yours. Can you feel the flow?
Mm.
Good. Keep your heart open. And then look up to your parents. And now you grow and grow and grow and you become as tall as your parents. So you can hug each other.
Mm.
Mhm. Then you say to them, "Thank you. I have now received all I need."
Thank you. I have now received all that I need.
to sustain my life in abundance.
To sustain my life in abundance.
And pass it on to my children.
And pass it on to my children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you see yourself turning around, taking a few steps forward. Then open your eyes and choose another figurine for yourself.
The see the yellow one that's that not the at the back, no, that one, yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
We have that one.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I feel good. And my skills are next to me on my left.
They are behind you. Here's your left.
Yeah.
Looking.
Yeah, we're looking in the same direction.
And where are you looking at?
We're looking at both the beneficiaries and the organizations. So actually you can move both of those to the middle, so it makes a triangle.
Like there?
A little bit from the back. Yeah.
So it's looking over there?
No, looking straight ahead.
Oh, yeah. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about this? The movement?
So, yeah, it can turn around maybe 45 degrees. That's it.
And
a little
here?
bit more so it sees the beneficiaries as well. And to the right of it. So that's it. Just a little bit behind. That's it. And maybe the beneficiaries is more in the middle. Yeah, but a little bit back. That's it. And actually, maybe me and the skills is even further forward. So maybe just forward. That's it.
Like there?
Yeah.
And where are you looking at? Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're looking at the money. Say to the money, yes.
Okay. Yes.
I see you.
I see you.
Now I see you.
Now I see you.
Finally.
Finally.
How is that for you when you say that?
Yeah, it's good. And it when I said it, the money turned around to look at me.
Like this?
Yeah.
How's the money feeling?
It can see me, but it needs the organization to say, yes, it's okay.
What is it saying?
Yes, it's okay.
Very good. Say again to your figurine for the red one. Yes,
Yes.
I see your service and the value of it.
I see your service and the value of it.
For my employees.
For my employees.
How do they feel?
Really happy.
Good. And how does your skills feel?
Rewarded,
Mhm.
Pleased, satisfied, acknowledged.
And you?
At peace.
At peace. Very good. Very good. Very good. We leave it here.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering. So this is how an organization constellation can easily tip into a family constellation, right? And that's totally fine. That's why we do it. Yeah. We couldn't do it without the knowledge of the orders of love and the role of the mother and the father in our life. And the knowledge about childhood traumas as well. So everything comes together, really. Very good. Right. So, any questions? It might come to you about what we have talked about the last 2 days.
Can we do a constellation for ourselves also?
Yes, you can. An internal, specifically effective. You can use the figurines as well if you wanted to. If you have a hard time visualizing, but if you can visualize, I would say constellate for yourself is best in a kind of a visualization. So you visualize, for example, yourself and your husband or your children or your parents or your boss or whatever you feel in imbalance with, yeah. And just notice how you feel and how they feel and the gesture and everything you do, everything. And you don't need to come to a full-fledged end. Just one step, just one movement is enough.
So using the figurines or the internal constellation, we can constellate for ourselves on our own.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's great. Try it. It's really great. You will have lots of insights. And as I said, you don't need to go through like what I know, 3 entanglements in 7 generation internally when you do it for yourself. It's just one movement. It's enough. One movement. One is turning around. One shift of energies. One shift of emotions. That's all enough for that purpose. Good. Right. So it was me a pleasure to have you together for the 5 modules. As I said before, accidentally yesterday, I repeated today, it is a beginning, not an end. It is the beginning of your journey to become a facilitator. That was just the foundation that you needed. It's like you building a house and you're all excited to move in and decorate it, right? But you have just built the foundation. You know, just the concrete slab, just the pillars. Now you have to build your house. That's another kind of big task and big work, big engagement, yeah. And how you do that? That's you practicing. You're applying it. You're repeating it. You are writing your essay if you want to, starting to write on it, reading books, watching Bert Hellinger videos. The other group just told me that apparently there's a very good three series of Bert Hellinger with from Taiwan, where he was in Taiwan. So I don't think I've seen that, but I have to Google it. So there's always something to discover.
So Maya, the codes that we have received for the workshops, for how long they are valid?
Another year and a month. So 13
Another
months.
year from today or from enrollment?
So you have 1.5 years for the certification, and you are
All right.
it's through the first 5 months now.
So
we
still have 1 more year to use them.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the practice workshop and the gatherings? For how long we will be able to see the links on our calendar also for 1 more year from today?
Oh, that's kind of indefinite because I posted on the WhatsApp group. So if you are staying tuned on the WhatsApp group, you will see the links there.
All
Yeah,
right,
you're always
okay.
welcome to join the practice workshops. We always see certified trainees coming back. Just lovely. So yeah, that's indefinite, more or less. Because as more trainees we have on the practice workshops, as large as the field, as bigger constellations we can practice. That's great.
Is there a deadline for the assignment? I think it was 2,500 words, right?
That is the minimum word.
Yeah.
And not more
And
than 4,000. So it has to be in between that. Yeah. It's about 4 to 6 A4 pages.
So we still
Depends on
have
how
also
you
1 year for that to submit, right?
Yeah. Don't start too late. The time is running. Things go in the way. And then excuses come and procrastination is starting. Yeah, there's nothing, So while you're practicing, while you're gaining more knowledge, while you're stepping out into the role of the trainee, like in a practical way, yeah, you are already writing notes. Because you all have in your mind what you want to write about. So whenever you touch this topic, whenever you see something, you read something, hear something about this, experience something about this, you write it down. It's already the start of your essay. You make some notes. Yeah. Okay. So the next time I see you is on an open workshop, probably, right? Or is there a practice workshop before? Well, anyhow, you see it on the calendar. And the dates for the next year will be out.
The workshop is 24th. The practice is 25th.
Ah, it's
June.
on one weekend. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. So with the new dates will be normally I make the dates half a year, at least half a year before. So the new dates will be probably done soon for next year. Yeah, wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to see you on the workshops and see how you are putting everything into action. And we stay tuned. And I see you. Question? Another last question? No? I see you when I see you. Yes, Saida, you go.
If we want to book other workshops, then we can just do that, right?
Yeah, you can always do that if you don't have any vouchers anymore or coupon codes.
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah. For the future, and I was going to ask, like, Hiba, Eva, and Navjoti, like, do you guys want to meet up so we can practice with each other and things like this? And because I know for me, when I've done other things, sometimes it's very easy for you to let your skills drift.
That's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
And so okay,
you want to join up on WhatsApp? Can you do that?
Yeah,
I think you can
maybe,
because you're all in the group already.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'll make a separate group for us
Yeah.
then. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Beautiful idea. Yes. Wonderful. So have fun there. And I see you when I see you. Bye.
Bye, Maya. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.